Alright, what's up, guys? So, Hot T, she has uploaded a video titled Trisha Paytas attacks Hila. Is it? Yeah, I think it's Hila and Ethan Klein. Yeah, it don't surprise me. That's why I'm like, you can't really trust this girl. It doesn't. And Ethan, I know like she has like the whole podcast thing with them, but that's what I'm just saying. Like, you can't really trust like what she does or says. Talking on Trisha. Cause yeah, it's one day she's gonna be like all cool and nice with these guys and wanting to do videos or whatever with them, and then she's just gonna turn on them and just say and do whatever. Like she did it with people probably before Vlog Squad. She did it with Vlog Squad, and she did it with people after Vlog Squad. So yeah, hopefully one day the girl can change. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into this video. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Hot T, her second channel, Ray Rahimi, and her business channel, Build Your Pocket. Go show it some love. Also follow her across social media. But then that being said, let's go ahead and get into this video.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. You guys are not gonna believe what just happened with Trisha Paytas and Ethan from the H3 podcast. She might have just quit frenemies for real this time, but before we get into it, please make sure to subscribe, like this video, and comment something down below. Alright, let's dive in. So, you know our girl Trish. Everyone on this channel is very familiar with her. Despite constantly saying she doesn't get involved in drama, she just might have quit the Frenemies podcast for real this time, although she's quit like 3 times before that. Anyway, so what happened is that there was a fight on the newest episode of Frenemies. It
just seems like I don't know, she might, well, let's just see what happens, but based off of what I guess I can, like, I don't know what I can guess from it before I even see what goes down, it just seems like that she doesn't really like, being wrong, and so she's like, oh, if I'm wrong, I gotta get triggered and walk out. But
from 0 to 100 so quickly. The fight was about 20 minutes long, and it ended up in Trisha storming out and just walking away from the podcast, which actually, it's not the first time she's done that. But what exactly happened? Let's talk about it. Trisha and Ethan were talking about the previous episode and how Trisha didn't know she had donut crumbs all over her mouth, and apparently Hila mentioned that to Ethan and asked him why he didn't tell Trisha. After mentioning Hila, Trisha asks why they can't have her at the podcast as a guest. Trisha thinks people assume they dislike each other, and if they have a conversation on the podcast.
I don't think that's a reason to get mad. Like, bro, there's been times I've had me some powdered donuts, and that stuff is just sitting around. It looks like I ain't had like a bag of cocaine. Like, that's something like it's something that you just like, oh, my fault and stuff. Like, it happens. Like, especially when I was at my old job. At my old job, bro, it was all of us. We were having either sauce, crumbs, freaking whatever, bro. Like, it's whatever. It's like, it's all right. You move on and just go about your day and stuff. There's been times I'm like, bro, then it's been like, especially there would be days like when I had like my hair like kind of like spiked out and stuff. There would be days where I just like, I wouldn't even pay attention to it and just go leave the house. I'm telling you, when it was like the way it was, like when I wake up, wasn't looking right. So of course, I had to, do some like stuff at work or just, because of the mirror and things. But I'm telling you, man, it's like, you just gotta live with that stuff. Like, all right, whoever it is that saw you, they ain't gonna see you like every single day, so it's whatever.
It could be helpful to their subscribers.
Do you have Hila as a guest on our podcast?
No.
Why? Because people think like I hate her or she doesn't like me or something.
Yeah, she could probably sit in.
You just said no, now you're like, okay,
just a snap judgment.
Ethan said that maybe she can be present, and then he was like, Trisha, that was a snap judgment, but also said to cut this out of the podcast. Trisha then proceeds to ask why Hila doesn't want to be talked about. Ethan then explains that Hila doesn't like being talked about in the podcast because Trisha's comments make it seem like Hila dislikes Trisha, which he adds is not true. In fact, Hila does like Trisha.
Don't talk about Hila. We're cutting this part out. She doesn't want to be talked about.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
That's fucking crazy.
She doesn't like that you're always bringing her up.
You just gotta respect the person's wishes. If they don't want to be talked about, they don't want to be talked about. Point blank simple.
Up and saying how she doesn't like you and all this because it's not true and she finds it annoying.
And then Trisha totally dismissed what Ethan said. She calls all that BS, saying that's so stupid, that's crazy. She keeps on talking about the H3 podcast. She calls it boring and even says that nobody watches it.
And then turn the H3
Wow.
podcast and boring, and it'll just go down the tubes and no one will care because you guys are not honest and open about shit.
From that point, she's
Wow.
just completely rude and condescending. She goes on to say that they act fake and that Ethan and Hila don't share personal stuff and just hide things about themselves. Ethan tries to explain the situation one more time, asks to move on from the topic, but our girl Trisha just can't stop now, can she? And this is gonna be important soon.
No.
Every time
No, don't.
you
I don't
go,
care.
why does Hila hate me? And she's like, I don't hate her. It's super annoying. Why does she keep saying that?
And
And
why
it's
doesn't she text
causing.
me? Like,
Trisha said that if something is bothering Hila, she just needs to text her or talk to her about it, which is a fair point. We're not denying that.
Let's
There-
just move on.
You know, it can't be this. It can't be because I know there's been people where I'm like, I don't hate them. I just don't want to be bothered with them, you know? So it's not like, because I don't really hate anybody, but there are people that I have met throughout my life from work, school, just YouTube, where I'm like, it is people where I'm like, look, you cool. Like, I ain't gonna deny that. You cool. But the chemistry is just not there, all right? Like, it's nothing on you. I just don't feel like right, I guess, you know? Like, and then I know people are like, what do I mean by that? It's just like, I don't, like, overall, like, it's a chemistry thing. Like, I just don't really want to be bothered. Like, if I could say that. Like, if you could just take it politely, like, I just don't want to be bothered, okay? So, and I think there has been times where people have gotten that message. Like, you know, obviously, you know, you don't want to be rude to them. Just be like, okay, like, I just, you know, I don't want to be bothered. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just how I am. Like, it's just, and I just think this is more so in the environment and just the people that you are, like, cool with and people that you do want to be bothered with and people that you do consider yourself cool with. But I guess if I'm just not cool with you, then I'm like, okay, like, I'm not cool with you and stuff. But I don't know, like, based off of it, like, it just sounds like it's the Hila, or yeah, she just, you know, she likes her, but she just doesn't want to be bothered. Like, and I can respect that. It's like, you know, there's at times where it's like, especially when it's like a social media, I don't know if Hila, like, I don't really be paying attention to Ethan and H3 and all of that stuff. So I don't know if she's like an guest that appears on his show or podcast, whatever, a lot, or she appears in his videos a lot. But if she's not really like a social media person or internet person and things, respect it. Just be like, hey, like, I don't want to be caught in the media eye. A lot of people are like that, so.
no, but like in general, like I'm telling you now, like she needs to text me and just be like, hey, I don't hate you, you know?
She's
Then
a
she
grown
keeps on
woman.
ma-
She can do whatever she wants. Like, you're being so... She's honestly being childish about this. Like, no, I'm sorry. It's just, you out here, like, getting mad because a grown woman doesn't want to text you and talk to you and stuff. Like, that's some childish stuff right there. I'm saying.
Petty and talks about how she's the reason why H3 is popular and getting more views.
Okay.
More views? Maybe. But Trisha, honey, your channel has been on the decline, except when you're in drama or starting fights
Yeah.
on the podcast with Ethan. Ethan answers her that Hila is just a bit annoyed with the situation and needs time. Trisha asks what is the situation exactly, and Ethan is like, well, it doesn't have that much to do with you. It's more between her and Moses. I don't want to get in the middle of it. And then Trisha brings out situations where Hila mentioned Trisha while texting Moses, and while they were arguing, Ethan is trying to be understanding of Trisha getting mad and flipping out. He's not necessarily attacking her. He
patience.
acknowledges her having a moment. Ethan again tries to explain the situation. She says she is fine and that they can move on, but at the same time she keeps on attacking and hating on Hila and Ethan. Girl, like, pick a side, please. Are you
Yeah.
over this conversation, or do you want to keep adding fuel to this fire? Trisha mentions that Hila is a public figure as well, so she should not be complaining that someone talks about her.
Good.
She has a fucking podcast. When you have a
so
podcast,
she is like a social media person or something. I don't know. But I'm like, okay, like so she is, like, regardless though, like, treat it as if she's not a social media person. Just respect her wishes. If she don't want to be talked about from you, okay, do that. I don't know why that's like such a problem. That's even something where I'm like, I've been in a situation like where in Hila's shoes and stuff where I'm all like, look, like, it's annoying when people talk about me, so just don't talk about me. And then they feel like, oh, I gotta go out and continue talking about him. I'm like, all right, well, when I act a certain way towards you, just, that's the reason. So, but anyways.
podcast you're talked about.
Just doesn't want you.
She's
She's
too
not
good.
too good.
Don't mention my name. Meanwhile, you guys can talk about whoever you want. Yeah, she's not a fucking private figure. She has a
No,
podcast
but
on this
you guys
channel.
are fans.
Trisha also asks, is Hila too good now for this podcast? Then Ethan keeps on explaining that every time when Trisha comes in for the podcast, she complains that she wasn't greeted and that Hila was rude to her.
Hey, can we have her as a guest? And then you're like, cut all that, actually. She doesn't want to be talked about, period. Oh, okay, she's too good for this podcast. All right, cool. I don't give a...
But who
No,
said
because
that?
I know she does. She needs some time.
Okay, cool.
I'm away from all this.
Great.
Trisha, on the other hand, claims she has never said that Hila was rude to her.
You start off always by saying, I came in and Hila didn't greet me and she was super rude. And Hila's like, that's
I
shit.
totally didn't say that. When
you
did I
say that
she
about
was
me
rude
too.
to
And
me? I
she's
never said she was rude to me, ever.
you say she doesn't greet you nicely. Shit
I've
like
never
that.
said that about Hila, ever. I've said that about you. I've never said that about Hila. Show me where I said that in a video or anything. I never said that once about Hila.
After that, Trisha says something along the lines of, Moses doesn't like you and you don't like him. That's cool. And Ethan is like, this is exactly what I was talking about. You keep on saying things like that and you cause problems between them and their family.
That's up. That's
You
the
guys
kind
are
of that's the kind of
assholes.
shit you say that makes Hila mad because you go, Moses doesn't like you. And so
For her
what
to
you're
be
doing,
like,
what you're
oh,
doing is you're causing
no.
problems in their family.
That's so not
And
Trisha starts calling Hila names, calls her a... She says she doesn't ever want to come back there.
her. I'm
You're
honestly
with
done.
her
Like, I'm not
brother.
gonna- I won't come back here. Like,
And she makes this comment about them having a nanny to look after their son. Ethan asks her what she means by that. Like, is she trying to attack their parental abilities? Trisha keeps on being sarcastic, mean, and rude as fuck. Oh, meanwhile, she's
Wow.
all like, I didn't say anything about your parenting. I just said if I had kids, I wouldn't have a nanny.
can we move past this?
when I have a kid, I'm not gonna have nannies. That's pretty, I'm sure.
What does that mean? You're not gonna have a babysitter when you have a kid? How are you gonna do anything? You're gonna. What does that mean? You're trying to attack our parental abilities?
Let's just move on.
Even has the nerves to
See, that's where I'm all like, okay, we're gonna talk about people having kids and stuff. Let's talk about you being a mom. How come it's like you 30-some years old and you don't have no kids? You so worried about me and my kids and me and my wife and me and everybody else and stuff, but you don't take the time to worry about yourself. Like, you don't take the time to address, you'll come up with more things to add to yourself. See, that's why it's probably best, like, God doesn't put me in these situations because he knows the type of person that I am, and he knows that something like this, I probably would have had her crying, and yeah, she had been on that show, and I just been sitting there and just all like, oh well. I'm like, you opened up something, and I closed it. So yeah, I'm like, my thing is, it's like, I don't play around with stuff like that. It's like when you start going after people that I care for, I'm like, yeah, I don't really hold back on you. Like, at that point, I'm just full on roasting you. I'm saying whatever. I don't care. Like, I think a lot of people are just, they're like put in these situations, like Ethan, he's put in this situation because he has more patience than me. Yeah, I probably would have said some things. So I don't know. I just think that it's like, it's messed up to go after somebody, and it's over how whatever they're doing with their kids. And Ethan doesn't come off as somebody where he seems like he's like a bad parent. Like, he seems like he's a very patient guy. He seemed like he's a pretty cool guy and things. And I don't even really know him, but that's just like based off of what I have seen from him. And you never know like how a person is behind doors, so I can't make that assumption that he's a good guy behind doors. But just based off of what I've seen from him, he seems like he's a good guy. So I'm like, I would assume that he's a great parent. Like, I don't understand, like, where does this all come from? Like, I'm like, you should be the last one talking about a parent and stuff, because I'm like, obviously you had some parenting issues growing up. So yeah, I'm like, you got something going on with you. I'm like, did you take your meds today? That's all right. See, and that's where I'm like, that's where I think that's where I'm like, I'm pushing the line and going too far. But like I said, it's probably best like Ethan is in this situation and not myself, because I tend to say things that goes a little bit. But it's just kind of upsetting where it's like this, Ethan hasn't even said or did anything. He just said, stop talking about, I believe that's his wife. And she's just getting mad about it. And I'm like, why are you so upset? Like, why are you up on this podcast acting like a child because a grown woman doesn't want to talk to another grown woman, or doesn't want this grown woman to talk about? Like, you can't, I'm sorry, but just like, you just can't call yourself an adult when you're out here acting like that. But yeah, I'm like, it's, it's whatever. Like, it's water under the bridge, I guess. But anyways.
To say that he is projecting onto her. Girl, where? Maybe it's you, Trisha. Maybe it's Maybelline. Trisha keeps on saying Ethan is putting words in her mouth when he's actually confronting her about her comments.
Yeah.
Later, Trisha has a breakdown. She's very upset. She even starts screaming, while Ethan is yet again trying to explain the situation calmly.
Fuck.
Okay.
I literally don't care. Literally, I don't want to come back because I fucking hate her. Dumb. I think we should just end it, honestly.
Yeah.
What are you crying for?
Such a bitch.
She's not.
And you are too, and you're.
All right. You should leave. We'll talk later. Yeah, you should get out.
I am going, but
Yeah.
I'm not talking later.
At the end of the episode,
I just see that's and then also just me being the guy that I am. I probably had started laughing at her. I'm like, what are you crying for? Like, you're up on here crying because of what? Because of something that you got built up. Like, I'm telling you, I'm like, them inside. Who's seen that movie Inside Out? I'm like, yeah, them people in your head, they are just smoke is rising from the machine. They're like, look, we're pressing cancel, but it's nothing's happening. Anger is sitting there like filing his nails like, I told y'all, like, don't press that button. You guys press that button every time, and this is what happens. She gets up on stage and she just has a mental breakdown. Like, this is what happens every single time. Sadness is just in the corner, just all like, I can't go through this no more. I need to retire and things. Happy is just like, Happy honestly is probably like just in a room somewhere just with some noise cancellation headphones, just listening, like, just let me know when all of that's over with. Like, I'm just gonna be back here just listening to freaking whatever. What's that song called? That's a good song. It's like a song called Chinatown or something. It's like that's probably the song that Happiness is just listening to and just going back and forth in some like reclining chair. But anyways, yeah, jeez, man, I'm telling you, it's like you should never call a woman crazy, but I'm just saying.
To be fair to both sides, Ethan said that Trisha was right, that Hila should probably talk to Trisha in person as well if there are any issues between them.
I think he's honestly just saying that because he feels bad. I'm like, look, she's a grown woman. She could talk to whoever she wants to talk to whenever she wants to. I'm not going to be the one to be like, hey, you need to go talk to Trisha. Like, no. I'm like, if you want to talk to her, you can talk to her. But I'm like, it's a part of me that's like, I care to a certain extent, but at the same time, I just really don't care. So, yeah, I'm like, that girl, I'm like, you need to go outside, get some fresh air, drink some water or something, freaking, I don't know, do something.
But he also mentioned that Hila actually likes Trisha. They both support her relationship with Moses. He says that he understands her emotions and he's going to try to fix it. Now, both Trisha and Ethan and Hila made videos following the episode. Here is what Trisha said in her video addressing everything. Her video was over 45 minutes long, but here are some of the main points. She said that Ethan asked her if she wanted the episode out, also says the episode was awful, her behavior was rude, and that she has a hard time keeping relationships.
My behavior at the end was horrible. Like, this is something that I struggle with.
Trisha mentioned she likes the dynamic between them. She knows it's entertaining and doesn't mind the joking around, and kind of compares it to her relationship with David Dobrik. She says she wanted to move on with the episode.
But it's like, do that. Do more of that. But when you start talking about, like, that's something where it's like, you should understand, like, hey, I'm crossing the line here. Like, I should stop. Like, or I should, stand up, take a breather and whatever. But my thing is like, if you're going to get upset about, maybe you should just write down a bunch of stuff like, hey, let's just not talk about this, or let's not, have that, just look it over, and then you guys can talk, because that's the whole idea of a podcast. You talk about a bunch of different things whenever, whatever, but you can write some stuff out and be like, hey, I don't want to talk about this. But you put yourself in that situation where you made yourself upset, you made other people upset, you got crap ton of dislikes on your video. Like, what did you really expect?
But in reality, she kept on going at Ethan and Hila. Like we already saw. See, I told you it would come up.
And really just dragging me, to be honest. Like, they dragged me.
However, Trisha claimed she is triggered by the way Ethan talks to her, feels like she's getting dragged by H3, and that they joked a lot about her relationship, constantly talking about it.
But, like, you can't talk about me and my relationship and say it's jokes, but then if I say, oh, Hila hates me, which is clearly, or maybe not clearly, but it really is a joke,
Through the whole family, she presents herself as the victim. She presents Ethan's words as she's trying to divide and separate Moses from his family and so on. Trisha says that she repeatedly wanted to hang out with them, but in the podcast, she always says that they're not friends, they are co-workers. Why are they texting her so late in the night? She keeps on twisting the situation around.
I don't believe I've ever talked nasty about Hila, ever. I've never.
But then Trisha says that she's embarrassed, that she cried hysterically, and that she talked to both of them and apologized, which is good, but by her mood and tone in the video...
Honestly, though, I'm like, with a person like that, you can apologize as many times. And this is something that's like my old supervisor. She told me this like one of the first few times I remember. Actually, was it the first year or the second year I was working at this job downtown? Either way, but I remember she had told me like this one thing that just really stuck with me, and that how you can apologize to a person 100 million times. You know, you could apologize for whatever it is, whenever, like how it went down. You could apologize. Trisha, she can apologize for everything that she has done. But it's like what you did, that's damage to that person. You damaged that person. And you have to understand that. And as many times as you want to apologize, as many times you want to give them $100 gift card, $1,000 gift card. You want to buy them a new car. You want to buy them a new house. You want to get them a private jet. You want to have them do whatever, you know, like send them to like a all-paid vacation to the one place that they've been wanting to go to as a kid and things. You could do all of these different things, but I'm like, that damage, it's going to leave a scar. No doubt about it and stuff. I feel like with them, Ethan and Hila, like, you know, it's probably not going to be as damaging, but I just personally feel like, you know, stuff like that, it is going to lead into something damaging, and it'll probably be in a matter of time, like, Trisha and Ethan, they still doing this podcast stuff, then she's going to say something that crosses the line, gets to him, and probably it did when she mentioned talking about his parenting and stuff. And yeah, it's gonna probably get to a point in time where he just snaps, go crazy, and he loses it on her, and she's gonna be sitting there like, oh my god, I felt so frightened and scared. It's like, yes, because you're saying things to people that's getting them to that point. It's like, just leave. My thing is to say she needs time to herself. Ethan, he could talk to, do whatever he wants to do, but I'm like, Trisha, you need time to yourself. You need to go to a rehab center or freaking somewhere, because I'm like, it's stuff like that where it's just, you have to understand that you got something going on with you. Like, and no, it ain't some like stuff that you done made a video about. No, you have something going on. You need help. Like, you honestly, you need help. You need to just take a year off from just everything, and you just need to actually find your happy place. Like, cause you just got too much going on.
It's hard to tell if she actually acknowledges the situation or is she still on the defense.
It's awful. I felt instantly awful. I was like hysterical. I will never be able to take that back. I'm always gonna hold on to it. I always feel bad.
And some of the comments on the video were actually very objective to the situation. People were holding her accountable, giving examples of when she's contradicted herself plenty of times. And here is what most people thought of the situation. And like I mentioned, Ethan and Hila also made a video addressing the whole fight, and here's a little summary of what they said on their live stream. So Ethan began saying that he immediately texted and called Trisha after the fight. He apologized to her, saying he doesn't really know how to act when she has a moment like that. Then she apologized to him and Hila.
After she ran out, I immediately texted her and apologized. I said, I'm sorry that you're so upset. She sent me this really big, beautiful apology.
Hila also explains what actually annoys her, that Trisha says stuff like, you guys are unwelcoming. Ethan also gives an example of the moment when Trisha and him were arguing.
Because I felt like it's so far from the truth.
She said, Moses doesn't even like you guys or his family, so who cares? And I said, that's why Hila doesn't want you talking about her family.
Hila mentions she felt bad about the situation and she should have talked directly to Trisha in the first place. Then she spoke to her, and Trisha also apologized to Hila.
But when you guys talked about it, she said, well, why didn't she just tell me directly? And so when she said that, I really agreed with that. I was like, I have her phone number. I should have just messaged her directly instead of putting you in between.
After that though, Hila talks about Trisha's video on the matter and says that she doesn't know which word to take from Trisha. Hila says she's confused because on one hand Trisha apologized and Hila knows that Trisha doesn't really mean the bad parenting comments, but on the other hand, after watching that video, she doesn't feel like Trisha was being truthful. Hila also talks about how it gets messy because her brother is involved in this and all of that arguing is just not something she wants to deal with or able to handle right now. Hila also explains her frustrations with Moses. She says that she has asked him why Trisha is talking like that about him. Then Moses explains to her apparently that Trisha's comments are just for show and for entertainment, and Hila's like, well, if someone is making that comment so many times, I would accept it as a truth. Hila also says that she confronted her brother on why he let Trisha continue make these comments all the time, because most people probably wouldn't like someone to speak of them that way.
People throw in weird comments like, hey, he doesn't even like you guys, or you guys never call him, you don't even care about him.
Close. You don't know anything about him.
And to me, that's not true. I don't know. If someone repeats something so many times, it becomes true to me.
And that's pretty much it, you guys.
I personally think, like, you know, that's one thing that I've seen from YouTube comments is that it's usually just like how that person feels about this. They're just going based off of who they're a fan of. So yeah, you're getting all those comments like talking about you and your family because it's all influenced by Trisha and her fans. Like Trisha and her fans, they put that energy out there. You just got to understand at the end of the day, you know that's not how you feel. You know that's not the situation. So you can't believe anything that person said. There's been so many times people have said in the comment section of my videos like, oh, your channel is dying. Yet I'm like, you check the statistics. I'm like, channel is not dying. But I'm just saying, it's stuff like that where I'm all like, you know, you can't listen to all of those comments that you get and then hear the video or whatever and things, and then you're just like, oh, I guess it is true. It's not true. It's like, it's not true unless you actually see it for yourself. So anyways,
I know this video was long, a lot of back and forth, Trisha, Ethan, this and that, but I hope you got caught up with the tea and enjoyed this video. Tell me what you think about all this. Do you side with Trisha or Hila or Ethan? And do you think they went overboard or nothing? Do you want Trisha to quit frenemies, or maybe they should work things out? A lot of people have been saying the podcast is really entertaining, so maybe they'll move past this. I don't know. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every single week. Alright, bye.
it's like, Ray, you should create a podcast. I think that's like when I'll start listening to podcasts and, you know, taking them serious. But yeah, I just think that Trisha, you know, like I said, she needs a break. That's probably what it is. She needs a break. She just has too much on her head right now, like trying to be this social media star and things. I'm like, you know, it matters, but I feel like in her situation, like, you are at where you need to be at. You know, you got it all. You did what you need to do and stuff, so you shouldn't be tripping and worrying about nothing. But when you go out and do things like that, you know, a lot of people are just going to lose their trust in you. And they're going to be like, I don't want to be bothered with this girl because something's wrong with her. And I don't want that type of energy in my life and things. And so that stuff, it can really like fool with a person's like, you know, their core. It really just fools with them. And I know there's been times where I've been around people that's like, I wouldn't say like Trisha, but has like the beginning stages of Trisha. And I'm like, look, I do not want to be bothered with you at all. I'm like, you got something going on, I will try to talk to you and help you. That is the only conversation we are having. I am not going to tell you about my personal life, about my day, nothing else. Like, if you need my help, okay, like, I mean, if you want to hear about my personal day, if that's what you need to hear, I'm like, okay. But yeah, I'm like, it's times like that, I'm like, yo, you need to chill out, all right? So, but anyways, yeah, the video was like hard to watch, but it's one of those things where I'm like, hey, you know, it's just lets me have a platform to, you know, talk about what I feel like talking about. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys go show Ray some love on Hot Tea, Ray Rahimi, Build Your Pocket, and then also subscribe and follow her on social media. But yeah, talk to you guys later. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and peace.